Hi, I'm Karin Hurt, and we're here with our next edition of Live Asking for a Friend. And I am absolutely delighted to bring you the Charles Clark, who is a resiliency expert. He's all about how do you bounce back. Now, Charles was once the sixth fastest man in the world. We're going to talk a little bit about that running wise, and then had a setback. We'll talk about that. And from there, he has really he works with some of the biggest brands around the world, Dick's, Raymond James, to really focus on vision and goal setting and resiliency. So, Charles, I'm absolutely delighted to have you on Asking for a Friend.
What's up, Karin? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you again.
It's good to see you again. So I was so inspired by your story. So let's let people catch up with the story here before we tap into the really practical advice that I know you're here to share. But so you were really at the top of your game from a running perspective. Tell us a little bit about what it feels like to be the fastest man in the world. And also, I'm very curious about what did you learn about goal setting and discipline from that portion of your life?
Yeah, so my story is really about, running for your life. I think for me, track and field was a big thing for me because, when I was younger, it was something that I really gravitated towards. I wasn't great at a lot of things academically, struggled K through 12, trying to figure out myself. And track was the thing that I honed on to. I could win. I could beat people bad. And so, in high school, I was state champion, national champion, went to Florida State University. And really, I think when I experienced adversity with passing the SAT and ACT, that's when I truly understood that adversity truly makes you stronger because I ended up passing that test I needed by 1 point. And, with all of that, I realized it's all a matter of mindset. So I went to Florida State University and was making the dean's list and ACC honor roll. It was all about, how can we handle this? Do you have the mindset to overcome? We all have these different barriers that we are facing, but do you have the strength to overcome it? And, from there, went to Florida State University, was a 10-time All-American, 3-time national champion, and was able to run for my country, USA, and place as the sixth fastest man in the world.
Wow, that's so impressive. Tell me a little bit about your training for that. So how did you prepare to get that fast?
Yeah, so, it's just like any other job, right? Like you work 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever the case might be. So it's a dedication. Anything that you want to accomplish in life is going to require dedication. And I think a lot of people don't understand that aspect of trying something new, right? When we're trying something new, it's just not going to work the first time. Like when I was in sixth grade, I got my butt whooped. I wanted to be the best, but I was far from it. And so these other athletes, they would whoop up on me, but I kept showing up every single day. And even if my body was full body lock cramps, I was still going to show up the next day because I desired something more for myself. And I think like wherever you guys are right now, is your desire strong enough? Is your will strong enough? So like will for me is so important. And, so it really takes a level of commitment. We trained, mornings where you did your rehab and in the afternoons you would do your weightlifting program. And then also you had, your actual sprint workouts and then rehab and, making sure that you get your massages and all of those things. So it's a full commitment, but just like anything else.
Thank you. So you had your devastating injury. And, as we were talking, one of the things you said that I was at a point that my confidence was bankrupt and my emotions were starving. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and what was going on for you during that period of your life?
When I injured myself, it was more than just the injury because I knew all the things that would come with it. And I think for a lot of athletes, they put their identity in this one thing because that's the one thing that we truly know and understand. Like, I am a beast when it comes to this. And when I no longer had that option, when I was looking at a torn quad muscle, a devastating injury that wrecked my life, And I was no longer that athlete who was in the forefront. I was behind the scenes trying to get my life together. And I remember, during all that time, I moved back at home with my mom, and I was sitting at the bottom of my mom's steps. Never forget this moment. She looked at me and she was saying, "Charles, what do you need me to do to fix this?" And this was me crying. She never seen her son at the weakest point of his life. And in that moment, I realized that it was on me. And when I realized that, I knew it came with a lot of responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. Like, to say it's on me. I'm no longer placing the blame on somebody else, but this is on me. But I was emotionally exhausted. Mm-hmm. I wanted something for my life, but every single morning I looked at myself in the mirror, I sabotaged those ideas. And so that's the place where I was at when I felt emotionally bankrupt. I was no longer me that I knew, but I knew it was going to take much more, right? I couldn't let that moment be my defining of who I am. And I think a lot of times, like, we let these 1% moments define who we are. But I've learned that in life, man, 1% of things you might not be able to control, right? But then you have this 99% that's completely up to you. But sometimes we let that 1% control 99% of us. And we just got to learn to flip the script.
Oh, that's so powerful. And so you started speaking. And what I thought was so interesting is you said, instead of talking about success, I started by talking about the pain we mask. Yeah. Can you share a little bit about that?
I think for me, I masked shame. I was so afraid of people figuring out who I am that I had it all together and I lost it. I didn't want anybody to know that. And I think we all deal with our versions of masking something. But the more we mask that thing, the more we cap ourselves from the success that we truly want. And, for me, when I first started speaking, I masked it. I didn't want anybody to know. Like, I was living at home with my mom, borrowing her car to go out to speak at these events and speak at middle schools and high schools. And all I would give them the watered down version of what I know really people needed to experience and hear from me. You can do it. It's going to be all right. The cliche things. And the moment I started to be real was the moment I started to heal. And I remember opening up about my pain, opening about my scars, opening up about where I was and how everything was taken from me. And I understand that people are experiencing these same types of things. Even in the midst of a pandemic, we all are experiencing some type of hurt, some type of adversity. And we don't need to be afraid to let people know, like, hey, I'm dealing with this. This is what I'm facing. The moment I started to get real was the moment things started to change for me. I went from, being a free speaker to speaking in high schools. I love doing it in middle schools, to getting paid to do what I love. And vulnerability taught me a powerful thing, that I don't have to be afraid of my story. I can accept me, because when I accept me, other people can accept me better. Other people can now love me because I fully love myself. I think also, like, it's hard for men to do that. Like, in the society that we live in, we got to be tough. We got to be the tough guys. But there's nothing wrong with loving yourself completely. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking time for yourself and, getting your face done and, getting your manicures or whatever it is that you need to do to love yourself.
Yeah. Oh, Charles, such an important story. You're reminding me. So it's interesting. As I was first starting to speak, one of the most powerful stories that people really resonated was a time of my weakest moment when I was going through a divorce and I was a single mom. So that was an important story. It's still an important story for me to tell. was interesting. The moment of truth for me came when I got a call from the American Association for Marriage and Family, and they wanted me to speak. And I thought, oh, they don't know. They don't, if they knew,
right?
They would never be hiring me as their keynote speaker. And I had all this shame. And I'm like, you know what? If I can't tell that story there, then I'm a fraud, right? So I did. And you know what? They resonated. So, I think sometimes we have to just get over ourselves and over that self-protection and do what is going to serve other people in that context.
I realized that with the platform that I have, being a communicator and helping people, push past that failure and tap into that version of Thrive, I realized the responsibility of it. And it was one of my first speeches. Teenage girl, she came up to me, and I'll never forget this moment. She said, "Thank you for sharing your story, because I felt like killing myself today."
Oh my God.
She made me want to live my dream. And immediately I thought about, if I can impact somebody in my struggle, imagine what I can do in my success. Imagine what I can do if I can be fully transparent. Imagine what I could do if I can embrace this shame that I'm feeling right now. Imagine what I could do. And so she doesn't know it, but she gave me so much hope. Even though I gave her hope, she gave me so much more than I would ever thought I needed, because all I thought was I needed a gold medal to be respected and appreciated. But I realized life is so much more than that, and it's much bigger than me.
And as we've been working with so many leaders right now, and they're doing their end of year meetings and they're doing their kickoff meetings. And the ones that are really getting through, because we're watching a lot of this, it's the ones who are willing to say, this has been a heck of a year. And this is my pain. And let me listen to your pain, and to really get in there and be a little bit vulnerable and not feeling like you have to show up completely rah-rah that you've got it all figured out. The ones that are having the impact are the ones that are doing exactly what you're saying, just showing up real.
Yeah. So not perfect. Like, we're not perfect just because, we have this platform, just because, we're in a position of power, doesn't mean we got it all figured out. There's pastors just breaking down. There's leaders just breaking down. And we just got to learn just to be real. And the more we can be real, other people can help us out in those situations of at your all-time low. I think the biggest thing that I'm on right now is stop trying to be the hero all the time. And learn to be vulnerable so that others can be your strength. Because when others can be your strength, now you have more capacity. You have more capacity to give. You have more capacity to impact people, more capacity to live with intention. Stop trying to be the hero all the time.
I love that. All right. At Let's Grow Leaders, we're all about really practical. So I want to shift gears here and say, okay, if we have someone listening who says, you know what, I'm at my low. This year has been really, really hard for one reason or another. And I don't know what the path forward is.
Yeah.
What are some very practical pieces of advice that someone who is feeling that way right now can do?
I would say, I'm related to track. I'm still big with track. So let's talk about ready, set, and go. The more we stay in the state of overthinking, we're not getting things done. So the first thing I would tell people is that you got to get ready. And that's the first command. And when you think about getting ready, it's a matter of just being aware that there's an opportunity that's before you. Are you alert? And are you in the position to be prepared for what comes next? So I think the first thing we got to do is just get ready. There's an opportunity before you. And there's an opportunity every single morning that you wake up, every single morning that we get on the opportunity to have a phone call or to get in the car. There's an opportunity before us. So it's just a matter of you recognizing, can I be ready for this? That's the first thing I would say. And I don't know if you wanted to, interject.
So what I guess I'm thinking about when you say ready, is what are some practical things that are in the ready stage?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just break it down in simple terms, because I think we try to make things complex. Like, okay, I get it, but what are you really trying to say? I'm saying just be ready. And so for me, I think I'm getting a little feedback. So for me, it's like, if I wake up in the morning, that alarm goes off. It's just being aware that there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to get up, or there's an opportunity to sleep on it, right? So just be aware of what's going on around you, the opportunities, right? If, let's say, you lost your job, is there opportunity before me? There's an opportunity to complain, or there's an opportunity to thrive. Just be aware. That's all I'm asking you to do at this first stage of getting ready to break world records and achieve personal success. Get ready.
And then there's get set. So what happens with set?
So set is simply to overcome overthinking, right? We have to get locked in on a single thought, right? A single thought that we need to take massive action towards, right? And so again, get ready is simply an opportunity. Set is locking in on what you're going to do. So what are you going to get set on? During COVID-19, there's, again, a lot of people losing their jobs. There's a lot of people working from home and, trying to figure out this work-life balance situation. What are you going to get locked in on? Because the more we think, again, the more we're not doing what we're called to do. So I need to get locked in. That's what I would say is as an easy, simple step that you can take. Get locked in.
Yeah. And I think that for what we're really seeing is that getting set piece of it is you can't just get immersed in all of the possibilities that happen. You got to pick some goal, or you got to pick something and do it. For our business, 2020 was not what we thought it would be, right? It was a complete pivot for us. It was radically successful, but it was not and I had to let go of some things that we thought we were going to accomplish so we could get set on this is what it's going to look like. We are going to get great at delivering live online programs. We're going to become best in class at that. You know what that means? That some of these other projects just had to wait. Yeah. And I really believe in that getting set is so important.
Yeah. And it's like, there's a million things that we need to accomplish, right? But hey, what's that one thing that I need to do right now? That baby step. When you take the little steps, it leads to something of massive action, right? So what is that baby little tiny step that many people just overlook at that and try to think about this big lofty goal? I just need you to take that one baby step, get locked in on that, right? So again, I'm gonna get locked in on the fact if I'm sleeping and the alarm goes off, here it is right here. I'm getting locked in. I need to get my butt up. I don't need to hit the snooze button, right? I think if you snooze, you lose. We sleep on average for 9,400 days out of our lifetime. The last thing we should do is snooze. When we've been blessed with another opportunity to live with intention and impact people's lives, the last thing we should do is snooze. So get your butt up. Get locked in on that.
I love it. I'm glad we're hearing from Ibrahim and Kate. Kate says, I love these points. I'm ready. Now I need to get locked in. Excellent. You're inspiring some folks. Yeah. Great. And then let's talk about go. What's the go?
So go is the instinctive response. We're designed to move, right? And I want you to think about these points. Like it's not like this is happening over an hour's worth of our day. This is happening like this, a split second, just like a runner. When that gunman says, runners take your mark, set, bang, that happens with under 15 seconds of our time, of 15 seconds of getting ready to respond to life. So I need you to go with that instinctive response that's inside of you to just be resilient and push through, because we're designed to move. We're designed to have courage. We're designed to do great things. And when you begin to believe in that, you move in a different way. You operate with a different state of consciousness. And so simply go. Go. You know what you need to do. I need you to move and do something.
Yeah, I think, part of that is knowing that it's okay if it's not perfect. Going is sometimes the most important thing. And then you can iterate from there as you're figuring
Right.
it out. It's interesting. Jared, our producer of Asking for a Friend, I had this permission to finally be live. And he kept saying, when are you going to do it? I'm like, I have to get ready. I have to think about, he's like, let's just go.
Yep.
Right?
Let it be messy. It's okay that I don't get it all figured out. We all trying to figure this thing called life out anyway.
Right.
We're just giving advice based on what we know. We don't know everything. And be okay with that. Be okay with not being perfect. I think that's my biggest weakness. Perfection.
Mhm.
I know you are. Why perfection? Like it holds you back. It stops you. It gets you in a place of overthinking and not doing. So let it be messy, y'all. Let it be what it's going to be. But I need you. If we're always doing this one thing, going right, but we're thinking, we're aware, and we're getting locked in, change is going to happen. We're going to learn to pivot and become better.
I love it. Love it. Okay. So you do programs with some pretty impressive companies. I'm really curious. What is your approach when you go in to work with a company on this, or is there a success story that you can point to?
Yeah. Every client is different. Everyone has different needs. So my approach when I do business with companies is to give them the cookie cutter version of things. I want everything to be tailor made because there's different core values.
Yeah.
There's different mindset things that we need to reset, rewire. So when I go into an organization, I love the opportunity to discover what are you going through and how can I best serve you? And then from there, it's working in within my niche, right? I speak on mindset and success, right? I'm gonna show you how to do that to the best of your ability. So I'm never gonna step outside of my lines, right? So to me, it's just making sure that I understand my client and I'm giving them a game plan that's going to allow them to achieve that home run that they see themselves accomplishing in the next 90, 240, 100, a year's time. So that's really my version of things. I wanted to be tailor made because we're all unique and we all got different needs. So want to make sure we're getting locked in on what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, that has truly been the secret to all of our work too, is you can't just pull something off the shelf, right? When you're growing leaders, you really need to understand the entire context and to make sure you understand what success looks like and where is the struggle and where is the pain. So we're heading into 2021. I think there's probably never been a year that everyone is so happy to see that calendar turn over. It's a feeling of a fresh start, even though we're still in the midst of all of this really scary time. There is something about a new calendar year of let's begin again. And I'm a big believer in reset and, let's take advantage of this new start of 2021. As people are setting their goals, as they're thinking about it, if you were going in and saying, here's some things to think about for setting realistic but stretch goals for 2021, what advice do you have for our listeners?
Well, I think the first thing is for everyone to understand that a new year won't change you. It's your mindset, right? We got the opportunity to do something right here, right now. Like right after we get off this, ask for a friend, right? We got an opportunity right before us. So I never want people to just rely on, I'm gonna wait till 2021 to do something about my life. I'm gonna, have these New Year's resolutions and then I'm gonna do something. No, it starts right here. Because what you feed your mind will fuel your desires or will fuel your distractions. And ultimately, that will be the thing that will decide your destiny. So I need you to understand that it takes in the mind. The mind is so powerful. The mind can have you, hitting the ground running or idling to achieve your life goals. So understand that it's your mind that you need to change first. How am I operating within myself? Right? Do I have the confidence to handle what's going to come next? Right? So again, don't wait on the new year. So, but here's the thing that we need to do in order to prepare for 2021, right? And the next 90 days. I need you to get locked in on what you need to prioritize. In my Thrive Planner, the Thrive Planner is a 90-day planner to help you move big goals towards the finish line. We go through a very solid foundational piece and creating a game plan for the next 90 days. And that is to prioritize. Maybe figure out what are the 7 things that I need to prioritize this year, right? And write those things out, right? Because we can't just live life just thinking about being locked in on one thing, but there's other things that's going on. I got family, I got a wife, I got a dog named Flash, right? I got an online business that I'm running, and I also have these journals and books. We got a lot that we need to prioritize in order to make the best of the next season that we're going to be in. So figure out what you need to prioritize. And after that, I would say identify what those 30, 60, and 90-day goals. I would just say, let's just start there. Mm-hmm. Let's just start at 30, 60, and 90, right? We have this overarching success that we want to accomplish. But when we can break those down into micro goals, we're more susceptible to actually going out and achieving those things, because now it's digestible, right? Nobody wants to swallow a big pill, but if we could take those in like little chunks by chunks, then it's much more possible for us. We can say, yeah, I can definitely do that. So break down those big goals into something small, 30, 60, 90, 240, right? Break those down, because that's really going to give you the opportunity to see what it is that you need to accomplish.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Let me just, Kate has just said, we don't need to be thinking about home runs. We just need to be thinking about getting around the bases, right?
Hey, come on, with the points. I love it. Yeah. So, and with that, I would say, understand what your values are, right? There's values that I have with my company that's going to allow me to achieve those goals that I want to accomplish. Now, if I can do things within that value system, right? Because I understand that the more I cash in on those values, the closer it is I'm getting to those goals, right? And values are simply character, right? And in life, here's the thing: you don't get what you want just because you want it. You get it because it's a character that you have. And when you have the character of success, you easily attract that success. So figure out, what are those values that I need to have in place, right? If for some of you guys, you procrastinate a lot, maybe you need to have a value of being decisive, right? Maybe if you have a business and you're starting from scratch and you want to figure out ways to really grow this thing, maybe you need to have a value of being original and not being a copycat, right? Because we want to do something that's unique to us. And when we always copying others, it always be the shortcoming of what we truly can accomplish.
Nice. We have a asking for a friend question, which I love. Hey. So what about an accountability to help keep us on task? Have you, do you talk about that and have advice there?
Yeah. I would say, firstly, you need a coach. You need someone that truly knows the weight of the responsibilities that you are getting ready to embark on, right? Accountability is cool, but I think sometimes we pick the friends that are at the same level that we're at, or we're trying to pull up that friend to get them to the level that we're at. So it's really not accountability; it's more responsibility. But really, the essence of accountability is to breed responsibility with yourself, right? Steve Covey, the great author, one of the things that he says is accountability breeds responsibility, but it's the right type of accountability. So I think the accountability we first need is a coach that actually knows the ropes, that can show us and guide us on ways to make better decisions and a solid game plan of action that can give us the confidence, even though we might know, like I know I need to do that, but having a coach who's been there, done that, can allow you to see, hey, you're on the right track.
Yeah, it's interesting. I agree with you. Finding people who will stretch and challenge you. One of the things that I've been doing recently is working with other CEOs of training companies and saying,
Yeah.
"Here's my strategy. Poke holes in it." Right? Like,
Yeah.
and you know, it's sometimes that's uncomfortable, but it's so helpful to have people who will challenge you. And then, you know, another thing right now, when we talk about accountability partners, one of the things we do in our long-term training programs, we just did this yesterday. In fact, we got to the end of the 6 times. And then we said, okay, as you're building your plan, find somebody else who's been through this program with you and schedule a time within, you know, within a certain time frame. Put it on the calendar right now where you're going to meet again to talk about the commitment that you just made. And we often do that. And just because, here's the thing, it's on, we call it schedule to finish. It's on the calendar. So you know you're going to have to look that person in the Zoom eye again, right? And talk about, did you do these things? And I do think that the coach is good. And I do think there's this place for the accountability partners. So we are running out of time. In fact, we are at the end of the hour. So I would just ask you, Charles, is there any one last piece of advice you'd like to leave us with as we close?
Yeah, you know, ready, set, go. Here's the action that you can take. There's an opportunity that's getting ready to come your way. And then also get set. There's something that you want to accomplish, guys. And I think a great product that you can use is, you know, my Thrive Planner. So it's a 90-day planner to help you move big goals towards the finish line. So if that's something that you know, feel like you truly need in order to get organized, in order to have more clarity and confidence to achieve those big things that are going to happen in 2021, let's go. You know, head to thethriveplanner.com and get your 90-day planner.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. That's where people can find you. Where's the best place for people to find you? Is it there?
Yes, the best place to find me is thecharlesclark.com. If you want to catch one of my events out virtually or in person, we have retreats, seminars, incredible experiences. And also you can find me on Instagram at the Charles Clark, just like my website, at the Charles Clark. And would love for you guys to hit me up, send me a message, let me know that you watched this interview. And I'm all about creating a tribe here. So thank you so much, Karin, for bringing me on your show.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, so let's just do a quick preview of who is coming next on Asking for a Friend Live. So Nate Regier is going to be our special guest. He is a compassion in the workplace expert. And I thought that would be a great topic to end the year, to talk about how do you create more compassionate workplaces. So thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you next time on Asking for a Friend.